Are the cans in order of what? Yeah. Okay. It's so fragrant. Let's just go for it. 2019, a year filled with Old Town Road, crazy presidential tweets, Game of Thrones disappointments. But when we look back at 2019, what are we really gonna think of? The concept really isn't anything new. So why does it seem that way? And what caused it to happen so fast? In front of me are 4 unmarked spiked seltzer adult beverages. I don't know which brand is which. I don't know which flavor is which. So as we do today's deep dive, I'm gonna attempt to do a blind taste test, and you already know the answer to what I'm about to experience. Welcome to the Big Rewind Deep Dive, where we take a closer look at what's trending, and today, that's spiked seltzer.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Bon & Viv Spiked Seltzer has 0 grams of sugar.
I'm just gonna, okay. I don't drink these enough to know which one would be what brand, let alone what flavor. I feel like you guys chose the worst possible flavors for this too.
We just took whatever we could find.
Great.
Okay.
You know the brand names as if they're pop stars of their own, right? You've got White Claw, Truly, Bon & Viv, Natural Light's in the game now. You have people joining maybe even for Loco next month. But in order to understand spiked seltzers of today, you first need to understand the wine coolers of the 80s. Originally released in 1981, California coolers were unlike anything that anyone had ever seen. They were light, portable, refreshing. They were alcoholic. Their success was quick to take off, and by 1984, over 10 million cases had been sold. By 1987, the sales of wine coolers accounted for 20% of all wine sales across the US, aka over $1 billion of annual revenue. But then just as fast as they popped onto the scene, they seemingly disappeared, replaced by something stronger, malt liquor seltzer. In 1993, the Coors Brewing Company introduced Zima.
Look at that. Who's burning?
Oh man, that pile it on.
I don't like whatever flavor this is. Despite strong sales and nearly half of American alcohol drinkers having tried it, Zima and drinks like it didn't last very long. It was simply a fad, a joke, if you will. Think Smirnoff Ices if they were only used for the sole purpose of icing somebody. The sales of spiked carbonated beverages continued to fluctuate up and down over the next 20 years, and it wasn't until 2012 when the manager of a small beer brand named Nick Shields was sitting in a Connecticut bar. He watched as a string of women walked up to the bar, ordered vodka sodas, and then walked away, causing Nick to think, how can I create a beverage similar to a vodka soda, but put it in a can?
Try them all and see which one is your favorite.
Try them all? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Worse. That's the worst. Not the worst, but not a good flavor. Not terrible. Have I mentioned I'm not a fan of spiked seltzers? Also, I'm kind of a lightweight because I haven't had lunch today, so great. Okay, my guess is White Claw, Truly, Bon & Viv, Natural Light. It's like close. Shield Spiked Seltzer was originally only distributed in small quantities to a few states until 2016, when a new player jumped on the scene, named White Claw.
Basically just a vegan Four Loko.
I mean, if you think about it, LaCroix, it's just a virgin White Claw.
That's when spiked seltzer was sold to Anheuser-Busch, became a nationally sold beverage, better known as Bon & Viv, and the race to be the top alcoholic seltzer spiked. Who wrote that? In 2018, the sales of spiked seltzers grew to nearly $488 million. And although we're only a little over 3/4 of the way through 2019, CNN Business reports spiked seltzer is now a $1 billion industry. Sales of hard seltzer surpassed $1 billion for the past year, ending in August, a surge of nearly 200%.
All right, do the next one.
Do another.
Yeah, what did you guess that one as again?
This is White Claw, we know that. I guess this one is Truly.
All right, take another sip.
You can bring on your white ears.
Let me finish the report or I'm gonna get drunk. The summer of 2019 in particular turned into an absolute seltzer frenzy. It was the start of every party, barbecue, and tailgate, as well as, of course, social media with a multitude of hilarious memes, costumes, videos, and of course, frat bros. By late August and early September, reports circulated that White Claw had become a victim of its own success and experienced a nationwide shortage. Naturally, some White Claw outlaws, did they really call themselves that?
They have no laws.
No way. It's got Sigma Chi written all over it. White Claw outlaws panicked at the news, with one frat in Texas racing to the store to buy a whopping $7,500 worth of the spiked seltzer. That's got to be the natural light. Is it? Yeah, it's not good. No. And then this is Truly?
Yep.
Okay. So now we understand the history of spiked seltzer, but the question still remains. Why has a beverage idea that's essentially been around since the 80s in one form or another suddenly become the juggernaut of alcohol? Well, the answer has two parts. Number one, the appeal of drinking multiple.
Drinking multiple. Drink multiple.
You picked the worst one.
That tastes like suntan lotion. I don't want that one anymore. You take that one. Emily runs up to grab it. Party and binge drinking culture is nothing new to the US, so introduce a beverage that's easy to drink, tastes good, sometimes, has few calories, and is relatively low cost. Well, you can understand the appeal. As Vox reports, it's not a coincidence that hard seltzers arrived on the grocery store shelves at the same time LaCroix became a strange kind of status symbol. They're seen as sort of a guilt-free indulgence, and that's where part two comes into play, the marketing. Rather than falling back on the stigmas of advertising in the past, like addressing a certain group or gender, the spiked seltzers of today are leaning into what they're good at, and something that nearly all alcohol consumers can agree on, the idea of drinking without consequence. Now, just because that's the idea doesn't mean that that's the reality. These beverages still contain very real alcohol and should always be consumed responsibly. As we've seen far too many times before, they can definitely sneak up on you. And as many police departments want you to know, despite the saying, there are in fact laws when you're drinking claws. You have no idea how long this shoot took, and that's all my fault. Cheers.
Chin chin.
Did you say chin chin? Isn't it gin gin?
Gin gin. Tomato.
That is it for today's Big Rewind. Shout out to Alex and Emily for doing most of the work behind the scenes here. Don't forget to check out our most recent video by clicking over here. Click subscribe down here. We'll see you next week on the Big Rewind. What did you just say? Cheers.